Hey guys, and welcome to the video, and also welcome to my new studio. Well, it's not really a studio, it's just a screen behind me, but it will make my videos look a lot nicer, hopefully in the future and now. So today's video, the topic is all about those last few pounds. So I get quite a lot of people coming to me saying, oh, I've got like 5-10 pounds left after losing quite a lot of weight, but it's not coming off. So this video is all about how to get those last few pounds off if that is your situation. So let's get started. So to lose weight, as you all know, I've done enough videos about it, you need to be in a calorie deficit, so consuming fewer calories than your body needs. But also, as you lose weight, you're going to be needing fewer still because you're moving less weight around. So even if you're eating the same amount of food and doing the same amount of exercise and activity, as you lose that weight, you'll have to reduce it, or reduce the food and increase the activity to continue maintaining your weight loss. So that's really important to understand to start with. And so how do you know that? You need to be basically a bit more precise when you get close to your goal, just because of the changes, and it's harder to lose weight when you have less to lose. So I always tell people a phrase that I like, and it's what gets measured gets managed. So the more you measure, the more you can manage everything that's going on. So if you don't know how much you're eating, if you don't know how much you're moving, then you don't know what might be going wrong. If you do, then you can tweak it and obviously sort of get yourself back onto the progress. So what gets managed gets measured gets managed. So in terms of input, that's your food and your drink. What I tell people to do is start putting your food and drink into a fitness app, a food app. So the one I use is MyFitnessPal. So basically you log all your food and drink and it'll tell you how many calories you're consuming each day. And in terms of output, your exercise and movement, I use a Fitbit. I've talked about this before. So it's an activity tracker and it basically counts steps. So everything is counted in steps. It could be basically jumping up and down, it could be stepping, but it also could be like doing the ironing or something, or cleaning your teeth. Everything is kind of counted as a step. And it's not the best way to measure activity, but there isn't really a better way, not that I can think of anyway. So it's a good tool to try and be consistent. So you want to be hitting the same amount every day with your output and also the food, your input. So what gets measured gets managed. So if you know what's coming in and out, you can basically see maybe something might be off. You might be consuming a little bit more than you thought, or not quite doing as much activity as you thought. Or over your whole 7-day week, there might be one day where you're really low on something or really high on something, and you didn't really think about that or consider it. So once you've done that, the next thing to think about is the actual goal you're trying to work towards. Is it weight loss or is it shape and size? And what almost like everyone will say is actually shape and size. No one really cares about your weight because no one really knows your weight. It's what they see you as, your shape and your size, and what you see yourself as in the mirror. If scales didn't exist, then there wouldn't be any way to judge your weight. So it's actually your shape and size. So what this means is you need to be measuring your shape and size as well as your weight. So that means using a tape measure, but also progress photos to see how your body is changing, because you might not be losing weight, but you might still be changing in terms of your size. So that's a positive thing, that's what you want. When you don't lose weight but you change your shape, this is called a recomposition or a recomp. So your body is changing its shape, but your weight might not be changing, so it's difficult to measure it on the scale. That's why it's really important to use as many techniques as possible, as many ways as possible to measure that progress. So that's why the progress photos and tape measurements are so important, because like I said, your weight might not change, but you might get slimmer. So that is what you want, right? And that's why it's really important, and at any stage of your diet really, to consume enough protein. So protein helps maintain your muscle mass while you are losing fat. So you want to lose the fat, right? Because fat sits over your muscle and is what makes you look fat, your undesirable look that you want to get rid of. whereas protein is what, or your muscle is what gives you that shape and sort of toned look to your body. But it also, eating enough protein will keep you fuller as well and help reduce your hunger. So I always say to people, consume around 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So if you weigh, say, 70 kilograms, that would be 140 grams of protein. And animal sources are better than vegetarian sources just because they're purer sources of protein. So you've got sort of chicken, fish, eggs, beef, yogurt, things like that. They're all really good sources of protein. So protein is the fuel, but you also need to stimulate your body to maintain that muscle mass and get stronger as well. So that's why it's important to include resistance exercise. So that's exercise with weights or body weight, and it needs to be progressive. So something that gets harder over time, because your body will respond to the stimulus and maybe put on some muscle mass to give you some shape. But as soon as it's adapted, it needs some more stimulus that's harder. So that's why you need to increase the weight or the reps or the amount that you're doing over time. That's what I mean by progressive. And all this links back into the recomposition of the body. So as you maintain or put on muscle mass, you might put on some weight, but that weight is good weight because it's the weight that gives you shape and size. So you might be losing fat at the same time as putting on muscle and not see it on the scale because the scale weight hasn't changed because you put the muscle on as you lost the fat, but you might have got smaller because of that. So that's the really, really important thing to understand. So that, again, is why it's so important to take tape measurements and progress photos as well, because your fat loss might be hidden by your muscle gain. And even for women, it's not a problem at all to gain muscle because it's what gives you that lean, toned look. Only a man will get like really muscly, or someone who's on steroids if they take a lot of protein on, and you need to be in a calorie surplus as well. But also, it's something that doesn't happen to women, so you don't need to worry about that at all. All the celebrities that do a lot of training these days, they train with lots of heavy weight and eat a lot of protein, and that's how they get their beach bodies basically. So guys, that is how you lose the last few pounds. You measure and you manage, you check that you're still in your calorie deficit, you increase your protein, you make sure you're eating at least 2 grams per kilogram of body weight of protein, and you make sure you're doing enough resistance exercise as well, progressive resistance exercise. So I hope that helped. Feel free to ask any questions. As always, like, share and comment, and I will see you in the next one.